Hey, Matt here. Killer Kyle. Welcome to Fury. Hey, me and Matt here, and this is Killer Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. And we're gonna do another top 10 TV shows. A spinoff. I just came up with that. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah.
So, last year we did the top 15, top 10, whatever the fuck it was,
Yeah.
TV shows, but we also did honorable mentions.
Yes.
So I thought maybe we could expand on those.
Right.
I don't really know. What do you think?
We can expand on them. It's just a matter of remembering what the heck we had for honorable mentions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I got some good ones here. I think, if I remember, I didn't really put anything on here that I did last year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but here we go. Number 10. So there's a show that we used to watch, my brother and I, when we were kids, called The Critic. It was like a different animation style than The Simpsons. It was before Family Guy. It was in the same kind of style as Family Guy, as, you know, there were jump cuts, there were basically, yeah, there was a guy called Jay Sherman who actually also appeared on The Simpsons, played by John Lovitz. He's a film critic. So there's a lot of, like, movie references and a lot of, he does coming attractions or movies on a balcony. I can't remember the name of that. So, yeah, there's some pretty good parodies on that show, including one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mrs. Doubtfire. It was a really good show, and it lasted for, say, not even 10 years. Like I said, I probably only watched 2 seasons of it at the time, and I did find a lot more episodes on YouTube, but it is a funny show. It's a lot like Family Guy is now.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot cleaner, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a game show for this pick. I gotta have a couple of game shows in mind to talk about. May have talked about one already, but whatever. So, this game show had a lot of different hosts throughout the years. It was on first initially, I believe, in either the late 70s or early 80s or mid 80s, whatever it was. It was a very good show. It was a show that you actually can learn something from, but it's also one of those shows where it's like opinion based, and so like the most popular opinion and so on and so forth. And it was just a Family Feud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch that when I was little.
Yeah.
I watched a few episodes of it, actually. Yeah, there was a lot of different hosts there. You had Richard Dawson in the beginning.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else, if there was anyone else before him.
I believe when the show first came out,
Yeah.
or aired, I'm pretty sure Richard Dawson was
Yeah, okay.
the original
That's
host.
right.
Because there was Richard Dawson, then there was
Ray Combs.
Ray Combs.
And then Steve Harvey.
Well, Steve Harvey hosted now.
Yeah.
There was also Louis Anderson
Oh, yeah.
and Richard Kern.
Yeah, from Home Improvement.
Yes. And I believe John O'Hurley also hosted Family Feud.
He might have. I'll have to look that up.
But, yeah, Steve Harvey hosts it now, and it's quite interesting.
When I started watching Family Feud, I wasn't watching it religiously, but I've seen a few episodes of it, especially the WWF ones.
Yes.
So, watching Ray Combs was like, in my opinion, well, not my opinion, this was the first guy I saw.
Right.
So I didn't really know that Richard Dawson was the host of the show until like years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ray Combs left, and then Richard Dawson did an appearance, and then, yeah, I think Ray Combs offed himself after that, so
Right.
then he go on to Louis Anderson and Richard Kern and all those other guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was an interesting show. A lot of stupid answers, though.
Yeah, that seems to be the same. Like, the host of the show, like, let's say Steve Harvey, they'll have one member from each family go up to a podium and he'll ask a question, and you buzz in, you give an answer. If it's on the board, you get the points for it. If it's not, the other family can get it. You can play it, you can pass, you can steal, so on and so forth.
Right.
And it's just like a family of, let's say, 5. I think it'd be mother, father, son, daughter, husband, brother-in-law, etc., etc. But the thing is, after the initial first asking of the question and you buzzed in your answer, he'll go to the other members of the family and ask them the same question. They'll give an answer, and if it's on the board, you get the point, so on and so forth. The thing is, you only have, like, a certain amount of time to give an answer, and so I think it's either, like, the person he's asking will either say the first thing that comes to mind, or they know they've only got a certain amount of time to answer, and they'll, like, panic and they'll just, like, blurt something out, and a lot of times it's like, what?
Yeah.
What did you just say?
Yeah. There's a lot of game shows like that as well, but I think Family Feud was fun because you had, 2 people from each family or whatever. They would go up on the podium and they would, like, buzz in an answer, and then whoever got the answer right, then the host would go over to that family.
Yes.
And they would each give an answer to. It was very complicated.
And of course, if your family gets 3 strikes, and you can go over to the other family, they get one of the answers that's on the boards, and they get all the points. And at the end, there's like a speed round, and
Yeah.
it's the most popular answers. And if you get like 200 points, you get $20,000.
Yeah, and you had a lot of pop culture on there too.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm not sure about other sports, but definitely WWF made an appearance. Yeah, WCW, I think.
Yeah, WCW did one time that it was like Ray Combs hosting.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had that. There was Macho Man, Sensational Sherry, a bunch of others on that one show, and then of course TNA did one with Mick Foley and I believe Sting. Well, there was a bunch of different people on that show.
Right. A Family Feud I was watching, of course, there was Steve Harvey, and I don't remember what the question was that was asked. Well, the person gave an answer, and of course Steve's like has this surprised look on his face, and of course the family's trying to be encouraged. Oh, good answer, good answer. She goes, "That is the stupidest answer I've ever heard," or something like that. It's like, you know it's a bad answer, and even Steve Harvey's like, "That's stupid."
Yeah. So that being said, what was your favorite host?
Favorite host?
Well, it's still going on, but
I haven't really watched it that much with Steve Harvey as the host, but like he's really good.
yeah.
I would probably have to say maybe Louis Anderson.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Richard Dawson was a flirty, horny man, and Ray Combs was, I don't know, whatever. He was whatever. And then, of course, Louis Anderson and Steve Harvey were comedians.
Yeah.
And then, so, they all had their own style, I guess.
And talk about ties, I guess you could say, with as far as pro wrestling and Family Feud is concerned. Yeah, you had episodes of Family Feud where you have like two teams from like one be WWE and one be WCW or both WCW or whatever.
Right.
But of course, go back to WrestleMania 7, or WrestleMania 8, and have Ray Combs on there, and there was the tag match, and he's introducing the people.
Oh, yeah. Well, he also did Survivor Series 93.
Right.
The Hearts versus the Knights.
Yeah.
So, I think, yeah. Shawn Michaels was in that match.
Yeah. You can say they had such a good time doing the Family Feud that they, I guess, invited them to make an appearance for WrestleMania in this one particular Survivor Series.
Yep.
And it's like, huh.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Ray's really the only one that, of the people that have hosted Family Feud to actually do appearances for the WWE.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I think Ray was like a fairly big wrestling fan himself.
Yeah, I think it was too. And it also goes to show you when we talk about stuff like depression, it masks your feelings, and nobody knows that you're even suffering with anything.
Yeah.
So nobody knew what was going on
Oh,
behind the scenes with him until it was too late.
yeah.
So, and that seems to happen a lot with anybody.
I think what it all came down to was the fact that Ray, being an entertainer and a comedian and making other people laugh, was his escape from reality, if you will. Being able to perform and do comedy and make people laugh and entertain and all this other stuff was an escape for him. But then when he went home to his family and his personal life or whatever, that's when he was really struggling, I guess. And brings me to mind of Robin Williams. It was the same case for him, He loved making people laugh, entertaining people, doing TV shows and stand-up and movies and appearances on late shows and all this other stuff. But then, I guess it just kind of got really bad to the point where he, unfortunately, ended his life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Number 9. I'm a huge fan of the paranormal.
Right.
So I started watching the show late because it came on around 2007, 2008. They did a documentary in 2004, and they continued Somebody Like Their Show, and they thought, well, let's make a real show out of it. Ghost Adventures.
Oh, yes.
So basically, you got, in the beginning was Zach Cowan, Aaron Goodwin, and Nick Roth, who started in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was the camera guy. Zach was obviously the guy that they all investigated their buildings and whatever. Aaron was their little bitch. So there's like a succubus in here that's been raping a lot of people when they come to visit. So Aaron, good luck.
Good luck, pal. You're on your own.
So, yeah, I think it's a good show, but at the same time, it's like, where's the proof?
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I can honestly say that there are episodes where you know that it could be haunted. You know that you could hear voices onto the intercom or whatever. And so it's like, is that legit? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching a few episodes where the guys actually, and all three of them got possessed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was kind of like, you don't know. The famous episode, and other paranormal shows have captured this one as well, was Bob Mackey. He was a store clerk guy that owned a music hall, and had a lot of musicians there. I can't remember the one guy's name, but Bob Mackey Bob was the owner. So there was a guy there that had passed away. They did do an interview with him, the first time they showed up there. And there was actually a video clip from the early 90s of an exorcism. And this guy was doing the exorcism, and I think it was, again, I can't remember the guy's name that passed away, but you could really believe that he was being exorcised. So they basically went through the building, and, Zach, who was young at the time and stupid, would decide to taunt the ghosts. So there was actual points where he got legit scratched. He could feel heat on his back, and when he lifted up his shirt, he got 3 red scratch marks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun, yeah, it's a show. If you're a skeptic, then don't watch it, because you're just going to bitch about it. But, I mean, I'm a big fan of the paranormal, so I definitely believe that there is something out there. Now, I don't know. I wish there was a little bit more proof, but there has been a lot of good episodes where you can actually see something there, but you have to watch it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this show is still going on. They're a lot older now, which I think is pretty cool that it's been a lot of seasons, more than, almost 10 years, I think. Or maybe it was 10 years. Anyways, yeah, the fact that they're still going, I think, is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, for sure. Talk about paranormal and ghost adventures. One show that I watched and I liked. I haven't seen in a little while, but again, it's along the lines of paranormal and ghosts and stuff like that. And these guys going to different places and seeing if it's haunted and there's ghosts and trying to make contact with them and all this other stuff is Ghost Hunters.
Yes.
And basically, it's a lot like Ghost Adventures. They got these two guys and they got a team. They go to certain locations at certain places. It can be like a old mental institution or a hospital or a house, whatever, and they just try and talk to the paranormal and all this other stuff. But the thing that I really found kind of cool about the show is essentially you got like behind the scenes of the two guys that essentially host the show, because even though these guys are paranormal investigators, they're also plumbers by day, by trade. They work for Roto-Rooter,
Yeah.
which is a plumbing company, and yeah, so like during the day they'll go to somebody's house and fix their sink, fix their toilet, do whatever kind of plumbing, and then at night they'll go ghost hunting, which is pretty cool.
Right.
And having these like EVP sessions, and with the paranormal shows, there seems to be this one requirement, I guess you could say, is like they go into a house, let's say, they'll get cameras set up and microphones and the electronic devices that they need set up and whatever,
Right.
and then they'll turn off all the lights and go to work.
Yeah. That's what my dad said. You know, and he's a skeptic, so it's kind of like, okay, whatever. But he's like, why are all the lights off? I'm like, well, because I honestly, I don't know. They must be able to see the ghosts or whatever better. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, because if you see a spirit of some kind, like an orb,
Yeah.
or like a person, spirit, whatever, it'll be like a shadow.
Yeah.
So, in the dark, you'd be able to see the shadows move and whatever a lot better than with the lights on.
Right.
That's just like a lot of videos you and I have watched on YouTube, and there'll be something really weird happen, but a lot of times it's at night,
Right.
and it's just the way it goes. Doesn't you would have thought that like you get better results like with the lights on, but I think more often than not you'll get the better results and the dark, especially if it comes to like those orbs, the floating lights or whatever. You'll be able to see them a lot better in the dark.
Well, and the thing is, too, and when you watch Ghost Adventures, going back to that just a little bit, and I've seen a few episodes of Ghost Hunters, they don't exactly do this, but I say, you know, Zoc taunts the ghosts or whatever. It seems like when he knows that it was a ghost of, like, a bad person, a violent person, then he'll try to talk shit and just be as vulgar as possible to get a rise out of whatever. Sometimes that's kind of not the way to go, but
Yeah.
there's this one episode of Ghost Adventures where one of the crew members' daughter was in a car accident and died. They believe that her soul, her ghost, was in the house. So that kind of was like that, you know. They celebrated her birthday every year, and they had cake, and Zach had the EVP. Wish I could get one of those.
Yeah.
And they actually made contact. Now, you're gonna say, some people are gonna say bullshit, but I tend to believe what they say. You know, it is true. And there's no way of knowing if it's not, but I think it's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Ghost Hunters, yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of good episodes about that. I know the guy's daughter helps out.
Mhm.
There was one with CM Punk,
Mhm.
and he was just calling it bullshit, and he was debunking everything, basically. So.
Yeah.
Number 8. Well, this show came on for 10 years, and it was one of the first vulgar vulgar-ish shows that was kind of, my parents were kind of iffy for even me watching it, but I watched it anyways. It's Married with Children.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting about this show, and yeah, we are a wrestling show, there's the creator who's a big fan of wrestling. Most of the creators are, so they have the Bundys based on King Kong Bundy, and you have Marcy and Steve Rhodes. Now, Steve left and then was replaced by someone called Jefferson. I can't remember his last name. Anyway, so King Kong Bundy and Dusty Rhodes, obviously, so. But yeah, it's basically Al Bundy is a bigoted, kind of like an Archie Bunker in some kind of way. And he works in a shoe store, and he's sexist and all this other shit. You know, Peggy, who's got the funny hairdo and whatever, and she's got that voice. Kelly, and then Bud. And in the first couple seasons, you had a Briard called Buck, who, well, the dog who played him eventually passed away and was replaced by a Cocker Spaniel. Don't know the name, can't remember the name of that dog. But yeah, the show lasted for 10 seasons, but you had King Kong Bundy, you had Sam Kinison that was on there, you had Anthrax that was on there. There was a lot of other cool guests on that show. But yeah, it was kind of like the kids, like David Faustino and Christina Applegate, grew up on that show, kind of.
To me, it's really interesting the fact that the lady that portrayed Peggy would later go on to be on the TV show 8 Separate Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, and then also portray the voice of Leela in the TV show Futurama.
Yeah, Katie Seagal did Married with Children, Futurama, 8 Simple Rules, and then Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
She did have a bout of cancer, but she beat it, luckily.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ed O'Neill, he was Al Bundy on Modern Family and all those other shows. He was on Wayne's World, actually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a good show, and I really should get the whole seasons again.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back a little ways here to when I was early teenager, let's say, and I mentioned in a video that we did talk about TV shows. Some of the TV shows I like were animated. I already mentioned Futurama, South Park, Simpsons, American Dad, and Family Guy. Well, there was quite a few animated TV shows that I'd watch, but I could say they were more geared towards children, let's say, but I still watched them and I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
One particular one that I watched and actually enjoyed was a show called Recess.
Okay.
It was basically, the show was about as a group of kids that were friends, and they would be out in the schoolyard at recess and hang out and play, and there'd just be a whole bunch of different things that would happen, and it was quite entertaining, and interesting. And the thing about it is, the group of kids were very diverse, because you got one kid that I can't remember the names of the characters on the show. Anyways, you got one kid that was like really overweight, and then you got another kid that was like really tall and slender, and he was African American, and then you got one kid that was like a girl that had like long pigtails that was like Asian, and then you had another kid that was like the leader of the group and trying to be like the cool guy, and like the backwards baseball cap and the jacket and all this other stuff. So it was really neat in that sense, like showing that you can have a group of friends and not all be the same.
Do you remember the name of the principal?
Uh,
Well, actually, I meant the teacher, but there's also the principal.
it's been so long since
Yeah.
I've seen the show. I honestly,
Yeah, I don't know. I saw like maybe 2 or 3 episodes of that show.
I think I remember the name of the overweight kid. You could say was Mikey.
Okay,
Mike or Mikey, yeah.
right on.
Yeah, it was a pretty good TV show.
Yeah, I will say I kind of sort of watch those shows sometimes if they're on. And I'm 35, so I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's not like I don't watch all the time, but
Yeah.
and it's not that show in particular, but there's others.
Yeah.
But I got secrets out, so I'll see you put it in a woodshed.
Yeah.
Number 7.
The show, I can't remember when it aired in the 90s. At some point, I'll have to look it up. But it ended in 2002, I want to say. It was on Much Music. It was called Loud.
Okay.
And it was hosted by George Stropolopoulos, who was an MTV VJ. And yeah, he did that show for years, and then he went on to New Music, which is a show that aired since I think '79. So just a bunch of different music. But you had Loud, which played only metal, hard rock, punk rock, alternative, like heavy alternative, I guess, or grunge. So
Yeah.
it was a pretty good show. I know my brother was into it when he was a teenager, and then I got into it when I got into music. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just basically George walking around town or doing whatever, shooting shit with bands like Fear Factor was on there one time. I believe the Abbott Brothers were on there at one time with Pantera. There was a bunch of different bands. So, I mean, they did that. There was a special called Too Loud in 2000 when you had George and Rick Capellelli, whatever. They hosted the show, and it was basically a whole day of just new and old metal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Another TV show I really got into was a show that you could really learn something from. It was fun, it was different, it was unique, and it was along the lines of like Splat or Wipeout or stuff like that. It was basically a quiz show, but if you got the answers wrong, you would get punishment of some kind. I only seen a little bit of it. It wasn't one of those shows that I watched rather religiously, you could say. It was just Like if it was on, I'd watch it and check it out. The show was called Uh-Oh.
Okay. I may or may not have heard of that show.
Yeah, and like, if you answer the question wrong, you get like a bucket of fish guts dumped on your head or something like that.
Right.
It was funny, but also educational in the fact that like you learn something that you may not have known before.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it rings a bell. I have to look that up again. But it does ring a bell. I just can't remember offhand.
Yeah.
But
I think the host name was like Blank Yahoo or something like that.
okay. Number 6. So this show I'm actually currently watching. It's still on. It's been like it's been 4 seasons now, I think. And it's on the Food Network. Of course, Kyle and I are big foodies.
Yes.
So we tend to watch
A lot of food shows,
Yeah.
Food Network and stuff like that.
some of the competitions are pretty cool though. Like this one is actually what we're watching now, and like I said, it's been around for I think 4 seasons. It's Kids Baking Championship.
Yeah.
Like I'm always fascinated with how like celebrities interact with children,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess. And you know, it's hosted by Valerie Bertinelli and I was gonna say Duff McKeegan. No.
Duff Goldman.
Yes. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see these two guys. You know, I don't think they dumb everything down, but it just seems like
I think they are a little nicer and go a little easier on kids than they do, like, you watch, let's say, Holiday Baking Championship,
Yeah.
for example, and, like, you got these professional bakers, if you will, and there's a certain expectation and a standard that they expect these guys to uphold and whatever, whereas
Yeah.
with kids, like, they're really good at baking, but you know, if they make a mistake, you can go, okay, you know, here's what you did wrong, maybe do this differently, or do this for a little longer,
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be.
yeah, and you know, you look at all these other competition shows with adults, and you're like, when it comes time for the elimination process with kids, and I'm not a kid fan myself, but when you see a certain kid that's like really nice, and you know, there was a few assholes on that show too.
Yeah.
You know, you feel bad when they get eliminated.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah.
So
Kind of tugs of the old heartstrings a little.
yeah, a little bit, I guess. And my dad, who walked in on it, because my mom and I watch it a lot.
Yeah.
He goes, "How do these kids know what to do? I can't believe it. That'd be too hard." It's like, yeah, but that's why they get a pack of smokes every time they appear on the show.
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of shows on nowadays that are specifically kid oriented. You can say like there's Kids Baking Championship, there's Chopped Junior, there's another junior show, and there's like Kids Barbecue Challenge or whatever, and just the fact that you got kids between the age of, let's say, 9 to 14, roughly. 15 will stretch to a little. And they are able to bake stuff that
Yeah.
you see in like a professional bakery is
Oh
like,
yeah,
holy fuck.
most of it is actually really good,
Oh yeah.
and it is surprising. But there's other like kid competition bake shows. I mean,
Yeah.
Rachel Ray and Guy Fieri did one like a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's really good to see a lot of these shows that I don't know. It's just impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a show that I just thought of off the top of my head that what the hell I'll talk about. It's a show that I watched quite regularly when it was on. I don't know if it's on anymore. It was only on for maybe 2 years, let's say roughly, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was actually really good. Again, another one of those educational shows. And it was a show that was along the lines of Jeopardy, but completely different. The show was called When Ben Steins Money.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did watch that show.
Yeah, it was actually a really good show because, like, at first you'd have like a panel of 3 contestants.
Yeah.
And they'd go through the first round, and whoever had like the least amount of money would get eliminated, and then Ben himself would become a contestant and answer the questions along with the other 2, and then at the end it would be like Ben against one of the remaining contestant, and they would do like a face-off, if you will, and they'd have to answer like 10 questions, I think, or something, and whoever had the most answers right won, basically, whether it be the contestant or Ben himself.
Yeah, I remember watching that show a lot and thinking, holy fuck, how much money do you have?
Yeah, I know, right?
But this was also a turning point for Jimmy Kimmel,
Yeah.
who appeared on the show and was kind of the guy that would quiz everybody, including Ben.
Yeah.
And sometimes even had Jimmy's cousin Sal on it. So this was kind of like his gateway, like, into his own talk show in the near future. But you also had him on the Man Show with Adam Carolla. But this is where he started. Well, this is where I at least saw him at first. But yeah, this was a pretty good show. And I think, it's one of those things where it's pretty cool to have somebody that's that rich
Oh, yeah.
and being generous by giving away his money, like, in a game show. Like, if you don't win, you at least get some kind of money. So, he didn't leave you red-handed, but he, was nice enough, I guess. So, it's pretty cool, actually, to watch that show.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is going to be part 1 of our show. And we did pretty good so far, so it'll be cool to see what happens next. And we will talk to you in a bit.